Thank you so very, very much for yielding to me, Representative Jackson Lee, and thank you for inviting me, Madam Speaker, for recognizing me. I rise tonight to join my CBC colleagues in highlighting the importance of honoring the holiday and continuing the legacy of Juneteenth Day, the first one celebrated on June 19th, 1865. As you've heard, this is the date in which Union Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, to announce the end of both the Civil War and the inhumane system of legalized enslavement of Africans in the United States of America. Now, it must be noted that this announcement came 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln issued an executive order that most of us know as the Emancipation Proclamation. But it is an important reminder that our efforts to form a more perfect union don't really have any time frame or any date, but they are ever ongoing. I want you to know that in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, from which I hail, we are going to be celebrating Juneteenth Day, and it will be the 50th anniversary of Juneteenth Day. Yes, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, up north. We started observing this holiday in 1971. It's a long way from Galveston, Texas, making it one of the first northern states to commemorate the end of slavery in our country. This Saturday, we will again gather along North Martin Luther King Drive to highlight Black culture with traditional food, music, youth essay contests, marketplaces, pageants, and a parade, unofficially marking the opening of Milwaukee's famous summer festival. And this coming Friday, we will be raising the Juneteenth flag in the state's capital of Madison, Wisconsin, to honor this day. We take Juneteenth seriously. I'm going to tell you, in 1972, the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reported an estimated 3,000 people attending our second annual Juneteenth festival. That number increased over the years, and between 160,000 and 170,000 people have attended these festivals in time. The high number of festival goers can be partially attributed to Milwaukee's notably special historic response to the system of slavery and to our efforts to teach the young people about Wisconsin and Milwaukee's role in ending slavery. Now, in 1854, a Missouri slave owner traveled to Racine, Wisconsin, place where I was born, 27 miles south of Milwaukee, to demand that a runaway slave by the name of Joshua Glover be surrendered under the U.S. Fugitive Slave Law. Glover, who had been playing cards at the time, was arrested and carried 27 miles north to Milwaukee so that he could be in a secure jail until the federal marshals could move Joshua Glover back to Missouri. And it was a larger and more secure jail. Well, when abolitionist newspaper editor Sherman Booth heard this, he rode through Milwaukee streets, calling on sympathizers to storm the jail. And a mob of 5,000 Milwaukeeans outnumbered the police and demanded the keys. But the wardens refused, and the crowd smashed down the door. Joshua Glover was freed and successfully moved through the Underground Railroad to Canada. Booth later declared in court, quote, "I rejoice that the first attempt to convert our jail into a slave pen and our citizens into slave catchers has finally failed. The Wisconsin State Supreme Court agreed with him and declared the federal fugitive slave law unconstitutional in Wisconsin. And in fact, in 1850, Wisconsin was the first and only state to declare the fugitive slave law unconstitutional. As one of my constituents, the curator of the Wisconsin's Black Historical Society, noted, the Juneteenth holiday signifies the African Americans are full citizens of this country, deserving of equity and justice. So it's an important day of jubilation, not only for the descendants of Africans enslaved in the United States, but for the American people as a whole. For it's not just simply Black history that we're celebrating, but we're celebrating a victory in American history about the freedom and equality for all of us who call ourselves Americans. And you know, while it may have been the 13th and the 14th Amendments of the Constitution that formally freed the slaves, let us continue to observe Juneteenth Day as our day of reflection, knowing that our ancestors paid in blood and paid it forward for the unimaginable toil for the freedom recognized on this day. And you know, as I often tell our young people, freedom just ain't free, y'all. Our ancestors paid it, and as a tribute to them, we have to take responsibility to do the best that we can and continue to work tirelessly toward justice and equity in this great land of ours. And that is why I admire you so much, Sheila Jackson Lee, you and Barbara Lee, for your efforts around reparations and equity in our society. With that good news arriving in Galveston, the push for true equality of opportunity continues to this great day in our society. And we see it reflected in the marches and in the movements and in the legislation and everything that we do today. Because despite our being free, we see the disparities in healthcare, in education, in home ownership, in COVID. And the struggle is real, the struggle continues, and we are here to remind everyone that we are all of us are Americans. And I thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and I thank you, Madam Sheila Jackson Lee, and I yield back to you.
What a rich and enriching discussion. Thank you to the gentlelady from Wisconsin.